wants to come with him to. Kasłynia i nos. Come back, devil. Come to me. Because I have a camera just for you.
Hello everybody, how are we?
Hello, we're good.
Good. Sorry I'm a bit late everyone. Here we go.
That's okay. This is amazing.
Okay. Good morning everyone, welcome to the Unzoo, welcome to the Tasmanian Devil presentation. My name is Caleb, this is the Tasmanian Devil, this is Alejandra. We're all here to tell you guys about this wonderful animal you see before you here today. So here at the Unzoo we're all about taking down the barriers between people and nature. So you might have already noticed on your way through that you would have seen some native animals. You might have seen some Cape Barren geese over there. You might have seen some green rosellas, maybe a paddy melon or two. This is pretty much Tasmania's iconic animal here, the Tasmanian devil. So we're very proud of our Tasmanian devils here. They're a very interesting and unique animal. This is the world's largest carnivorous marsupial. And what that means is they eat lots of meat and they raise their young in the pouch, pretty much the same as all our other marsupials here. Big yawn there, buddy. Big yawn. This is a female, if anyone's wondering. She's 4 years old. She's actually a sister of the two Tasmanian devils in Fern Forest, which you might have spotted on your way through. You might have heard Tasmanian devils are scavengers. So when they're out there in the wild, they're pretty much cleaning up all the carcasses for us. And they do a very good job of that because they don't just eat the flesh. They also eat the skin and the fur and the bones and the guts and everything else in between. It all goes down the hatch. They leave nothing to waste. They can actually consume up to about 40% of their body weight in just half an hour. So you'd be hard pressed to beat a Tassie devil in an eating contest. And the other thing is they have incredibly strong jaws. In fact, they have the strongest jaw strength to body size ratio out of any animal alive today. And to give you guys an idea of exactly how strong that is, us humans, we can bite about 3/4 of our body weight. A lion can bite twice their body weight. A Tasmanian devil can bite up to 15 times their body weight. That's about 400 pounds per square inch, or 540 newtons. Hey folks, how we going? If you like to jump a seat, jump on in. We've got the Tassie devil just in here, den over here. So yes, very, very strong jaws. Now a lot of people also like to ask me if Tasmanian devils are capable of hunting. And the answer to that question is they can, but they're not very good at it. They're not well equipped. Their eyesight is not the best, so they don't notice a whole lot going on around them. The other thing is, they can't run very fast, only about as fast as a chicken, and they're not very agile. So a lot of the animals here in Tasmania are good at either outrunning them, out hopping them, out climbing them, out hiding them, that kind of thing. So they're very good at evading the Tasmanian devils. So what they do use to great effect is their sense of smell. They have an incredible sense of smell. They can smell carcasses from about 2 kilometres away. They can also use the wind as a tool to help determine the direction that flesh is in as well. So when the wind is blowing, you've got the carcass over here, the stench is coming this way, the Tassie devil picks up on that and realises it needs to run perpendicular to that wind to be able to find its food. So sophisticated in that regard, but otherwise, you know, most of their head and their neck is just muscle. Their brain is only about the size of a walnut. So I wouldn't say they're the smartest marsupial out there, but what they do use to great effect. They do make good use of things like that. Their sense of smell. Anyway, I will share with you guys one of my favourite Tasmanian devil stories. Now this happened a couple of years ago. We had a sperm whale wash up on one of the northwestern beaches of Tasmania. Now the whale was sitting there on this beach for a good couple of weeks until it was discovered by a park ranger, and of course it was rotting by then, it was very stinky, and he heard a weird noise coming from inside. So he investigated, and what he found was that there was a whole group of Tasmanian devils that had successfully crawled inside of this whale's backside and begun to eat it from the inside out. Pretty gross, eh? Goes to show though, they're not fussy. I like to say they were having a right whale of a time. And it brings a whole new meaning to the term bottom feeder as well, if you ask me too. Yes, there you are. Alrighty, she's going to sleep. Sorry, I'm not that interesting for you. My apologies. Now, as I said, eyesight's not that bad. Oh, it's pretty bad. If she was paying attention, she'd realise there's a skinky lizard on the log beside her, and she could jump on that and have a bit of a yummy snack. But yeah, the lizard knows that it's not in any danger because they're too slow. But anyway. Okay, I'll tell you guys the story of their life cycle. It's a bit of an interesting one. So they're fully grown at the age of 2. That's when they're going to go out and find a mate of their own. Once they've found their mate, they'll try and drag her back into his den. He'll try and keep her there for about a month if possible. She's not too sure about this guy though. She wants the best father for her kids. The way she finds the best father is she escapes that den and she tries out all the possible fathers. So they are polygynous. Now, she does of course fall pregnant. Now, pregnancy for a Tasmanian devil, it's only 3 weeks, so it's over very quickly. After which point she gives birth to a great big litter of tiny little Tasmanian devils. Now these guys are very small. She has somewhere between 20 to 40 tiny little imps in one litter. So a crazy amount. But there is a catch. Mum only has 4 teats in her pouch. So only the fastest and the fittest 4 little imps make it in and get a teat. The rest are not so lucky because Mum's not one to let a good meal go to waste. She'll quite literally spin around and gobble them up for breakfast. And she has a good recipe for them too. Has anyone heard of deviled eggs? That's what she cooks them up as. Anyway, the lucky 4, they'll stay in that pouch for 100 days, after which point they hop out. They tag along with their mum until they're about 9 months old. That's normally about the point in time that mum has had enough of them, taking up space in her den, eating all the food she brings back. Not being bored, she's pretty well over it by this point. So off she trots, she doesn't return. And they all go their own separate directions. Now, Tasmanian devils, they are what we call a solitary species, which means out there in the wild, they don't hang out in packs or pairs or groups. They're just out there on their own for the most part, being rather independent. So it really is a game of survival of the fittest, because the stronger you are as a Tasmanian devil and the faster you can eat, the more likely you are to live a longer life. The lifespan is not too long anyway. It's only about 5 years on average in the wild, 6 to 7 in captivity. That's just because we take good care of them. Yeah, it's pretty much across the board for all of the carnivorous marsupials. None of them live spectacularly long lifespan. But yes, she's being 4, she's a bit over middle age for a Tassie devil, this one. Anyway, they're not even meeting those kind of lifespans a lot of the time these days out in the wild, because they are suffering from a really nasty sickness, and that's called the Tasmanian devil facial tumour disease, DFTD for short. You might have heard of it. It's the world's only fatal transmissible cancer, so it's got a lot of scientists out there thinking, what on earth is this? We've never seen this before. It was first discovered in 1996 in northeast Tasmania, and since then we've lost about 90% of our Tasmanian devils to it. So it's been causing huge problems. Basically how it works is when they come together to eat, they can all smell those carcasses, so they all jump in together, they smash it to pieces, they scream at each other, and they tend to bite each other on the face as well. Now, if they have DFTD, that's when it's passed on. It's passed on through the saliva into the bite wound, where it then begins to attack the hormonal and immune systems beneath the skin. And it causes those great big tumours to begin to grow on their face, which usually causes them a great deal of suffering. They usually die from starvation somewhere between 3 to 6 months after infection, because they sadly just can't eat through those tumours. It is a really nasty way to go, of course. But it's not all doom and gloom, because we are trying to do everything we can to try and keep them around, and conservation has been rather effective over the last 20 or so years. What we've been doing is we've been breeding as many as possible through our Save the Tasmanian Devil program. We have quite a few facilities, not just here in Tasmania, but mainland Australia, a couple of international ones as well, with the sole aim of just having a great big insurance population that we can later repopulate with. We've recently introduced some to Maria Island. They did very well there. Unfortunately, the fairy penguins all got munched up by the Tasmanian devils, so that was a bit of an oversight there. But from what I've heard, the Tassie devils are doing pretty well. Yeah, poor fairy penguins. But yeah, the other thing we are, of course, trying to do is look after the disease-free areas that still remain. We're pretty much on the main one here today, actually, Turricanna, the Tasman Peninsula. We're fortunate because there's no sign of DFTD, and that's mainly down to the geography of the area. So you all might be aware, we're only connected to the rest of Tasmania by a very small piece of land in a town called Denali. And Denali is a disease-proof barrier. So there's a canal that goes through that town, and you cross over a bridge, and the bridge kind of goes vroom when you drive across. That's because it's a series of metal bars. It's very uncomfortable for the Tasmanian devils to walk on. It's like a cattle grate.